Hello everyone, welcome to this session of class 9 mathematics and I am your Anu again. It was introduction to Euclid's geometry and we have completed the concepts in the chapter, and today let us see some of the problems or some of the concepts recalled again in this class. So let's start. It's exercise 5.1 according to the NCERT textbook, and the first question is, which of the statements are true and which are false? Give reasons. First one is, only one line can pass through a single point. So you need to say whether it is true or false. Only one line can pass through a single point, isn't it? Is it only one line can pass through a single point? Yes, let's see if it is true. See, we have a point here. Okay, so we know only when 2 points are given, 2 endpoints are given, only one line can be drawn with those 2 points, isn't it? So Euclid termed it as a terminated line because it has 2 endpoints. So with 2 points, we'll be able to draw only one line. We know that. But through a single point, there can be as many lines as possible, isn't it? See? So there are infinitely many number of lines passing through a single point. So the statement only one line can pass through a single point is false. Okay. Next, there are infinite number of lines which can pass through two distinct points. So there are infinite number of lines which can pass through two distinct points. Again, we saw if 2 points are given, see, if 2 points are given, there can be only one line which can pass through those two distinct points, isn't it? So when 2 points are given, only one line can pass through them. Okay, pass through them. So there are infinitely number of lines, there are infinite number of lines which pass through two distinct points is also false again. Now a terminated line can be produced indefinitely both the sides. We have defined what is a terminated line, isn't it? So it has two endpoints. This is called a terminated line according to Euclid, and we call it now as a line segment, isn't it? So when it is produced indefinitely on both sides, what we get is a line. So this is a line segment which has two endpoints, and if it is indefinitely produced on both sides, it forms a line naturally. So a terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both sides is absolutely true. Next, if two circles are equal, then their radii are equal. So let us consider a circle with a particular radius, and we take another circle, and when we superimpose or when we keep it on the top of the other circle what we have drawn earlier, so it covers exactly and they coincide each other. What do you mean by coincide each other? The circumference is the same, length around the boundary is same in both the circles, and the circles are said to be equal. So naturally the center, the distance from the center to the circumference of the circle is equal in both the circles. See, if you draw a circle like this and if you draw another circle, if I say both the circles coincide with each other, their circumference has to be equal if they are equal. So if the circumference is equal, then the distance from the center to the circumference to any point on the circumference or on the circle is equal. That is nothing but the radius. So the radii are equal when we say the circles are equal. Okay, so this is true. Now the next point is, in figure AB is equal to PQ. See, AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY, then PQ is equal to XY. See, in the figure AB are drawn here and PQ XY. given that AB is equal to PQ. So this line is equal to PQ and this line PQ is equal to XY. So these two lines have a common line, that is PQ. AB and XY both are equal to PQ. So to see whether this statement is true according to the diagram, we recall the axioms of Euclid. So what Euclid axiom states is, when the same thing, when a thing is equal to, when things are equal to the same thing, when things are equal to the same thing, then they are equal to one another. So the things are equal to same thing is AB is equal to PQ and XY is also equal to PQ. So they are equal to the same thing. So things are equal to same thing, that is PQ, they are equal to PQ, so they are equal to one another. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A and C both are equal to B, isn't it? The same thing. So A and C are equal. So likewise, AB is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to XY. Therefore, PQ is equal to, sorry, I've given you wrong. So equal to XY. Therefore, AB is equal to XY. So this is according to the Euclid's axiom. When things equal to the same thing, then the things are equal to one another. AB is equal to PQ, PQ is equal to XY, therefore AB is equal to XY. Do you understand? So the next one is, give a definition for each of the following terms. Are there other terms that need to be defined first? What are they and how might you define them? Okay, so we need to define the terms given here. Some 5 terms are given, so you need to define them. But before defining them, do you have any other terms that need to be defined first? Yes, according to Euclid's statements, Euclid's definitions and axioms and his results, we see some of the terms have to be defined first. So they are, the first one is plane. Okay, sorry, first one is the point. So what do you mean by a point? We have seen a point. A point is usually, it points to the location or the position of, position in a space. Okay, so a point is used to locate a position in space. So it has no part, isn't it? So it is dimensionless, or we can say it has no part. So this has to be defined. So when I say point, so the point means it has no part and it is dimensionless and it is used to specify a position in space or in a plane. Okay, so this is about a point. And the other thing that needs to be defined according to Euclid's axioms and postulates, and wherever we see according to Euclid's results, the other thing which needs definition is line segment. So a line, when we draw a line, see, when you draw a line, he has termed it as terminated line. So that line, this line is a single dimension, that is, it has only length, doesn't have breadth. So it's a breadthless length. Okay, so it's a breadthless length, it has length alone and it doesn't have any breadth to it. It is a single dimension and it has points evenly distributed on it. So a straight line is defined as such. Next comes the plane. A plane is a flat surface. When you take the blackboard, it's a flat surface. The board here, whiteboard, it's a flat surface. And the flat surface where straight lines are evenly distributed on it. So this has to be a plane. So these are some of the terms which needs to be defined first. And then we move on to the definitions of the terms given here. Parallel lines, perpendicular lines, line segment, radius of circle and a square. So what do we mean by parallel lines? So we have seen Euclid's postulates, and the 5th postulate in particular deals with these parallel lines. But what how do they tell you about the parallel lines is, the Euclid's 5th postulate doesn't directly tell you about the parallel lines, but what does it say when there are two straight lines and a line falling on it, a falling line on it, and when you take the angles on the same side, see, when you take, these are the lines, and when you take the angles on the same side of the line of the falling line, see, now we call the falling line as transversal, isn't it? So the interior angles, that is the angles on the same side of the falling line, if we add them and if they are less than 180 degrees, see, if these two angles were added, if they are less than 180 degrees, then the lines on the same side of the falling line, they meet each other or they intersect each other at some point. So that is what he comes to say is, that is, these two lines intersect each other if the sum of these two angles is less than 180. But if it is equal to 180, what happens? So when these two angles, the sum of angles are equal to 180, what happens is they don't meet each other at any point. So if they are perpendicular, see this line and this line, these two lines and the falling line, if they are perpendicular to each other, then we say that these two lines are parallel. So when these two lines are parallel, the distance between them, the perpendicular distance, the vertical distance between them stays constant throughout the distance, isn't it? So it stays constant. See, when it is parallel, the vertical distance remains constant throughout the distance, so it doesn't meet anywhere. So ultimately the fifth postulate directly deals with parallelism. So what do you mean by parallel lines? Parallel lines are lines, see, these are parallel lines, okay, they don't meet each other or they don't have any common point to each other, and the vertical distance between them, the perpendicular distance between them is constant. Okay, so these are parallel lines. And we also have a similar axiom called Playfair axiom, similar to that of Euclid's postulate, which states the theory of parallelism. So what that say is, there is one point, say you take P a point and this is a line L, so there is a point P which is not on L, and there can be only one line, one and only line passing through P which can be parallel to the line L. So there can be only one line passing through any point not on the line. See, this is a line L and P is not on L, so there can be only one line passing through the point P, so that these two lines are parallel. You understand? So parallel lines do not meet anywhere, and the distance, the vertical distance between them stays constant throughout the path. And the next is perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines, what do we mean by perpendicular lines? We know perpendicular lines, the angle between them is 90 degrees. That is, they meet each other. The lines, two lines meet each other at right angles and they have a common point. Okay, so two lines when meet each other in a plane and are at right angles to each other are called perpendicular lines. Okay, the next one is line segment. So we know that line segment, what is a line segment? It's a terminated line according to Euclid. It's a terminated line because it has two endpoints. So the line segment is a line which has two endpoints. So it ends with it. It doesn't extend on both sides. If it extends on both sides, it is called a line and not a line segment. So line segment is the one which has two endpoints, and it has a length to it, AB. We denote it by length AB. It has a length to it, AB. Okay, so it can be measured to. So that is what is line segment. And what is radius of a circle? So just now we have seen radius of a circle. Radius of a circle is also a line segment because it has two endpoints. One is the center of the circle. The other point lie anywhere on the circle, anywhere on the circumference of the circle. So the line segment which is drawn from the center to any point on the circumference of the circle is called the radius of the circle, and it is also measured in length. Okay, so the length is also measured, the length of the radius is also measured, and it is termed as C1, center, CO1 and R1. This is R1, this is for circle 1. So for this circle I have termed O and R1, O1 and R1, which is center, comma, radius. So each circle has its own radius which can be measured in centimeters or meters. Next is square. So what do we mean by a square? See, a square which is bounded by line segments on four sides. In a plane, you can draw a square because it's a two-dimensional figure. It has length and breadth. So it is bounded by four sides, four line segments. So it is bounded by line segments on four sides, and all the sides being equal. See, all the sides of the square are equal and all the sides meet each other at right angles. Okay, so this is what is a square, we know, and we define it as line segments bounded on four sides, and the sides are equal and the sides meet each other at right angles. Okay, so this is some of the two problems in the exercise we saw today, and in the next class we'll continue with the problems in the chapter. Until then, it's bye from Anu. Thank you.